My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you, Uncle, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here with you today and to share my Sai journey with you all. So, as many of you may know, my father actually studied in Swami school. And so I was very fortunate to grow up in a Sai family since birth. And growing up around a parent who went to Swami school, naturally, I heard a lot of stories and experiences and pictures and things about interviews and things about Swami assigned and how Swami school was. And so growing up like that, naturally I inherited a lot of that discipline and that Sai faith from a young age. And so I would see them doing pujas every morning, every evening, every week tirelessly. They would take me to center for Balavi class and bhajans and singing and putting me in Vedam class. My mother, although she was familiar with Swami in her childhood, she didn't really come into the Sai fold until her marriage. But for me, in 2018, as far as what I knew then, she was taking some leadership course in India. It was an online modules, and then she had to go to Puttaparthi for some graduation, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was, and that's all I really knew at that age. So she went to the study room, she would take notes, she would come back, and then all I knew was she was going to Parthi, and that's it. And I remember I was watching the live stream of her graduation, and naturally, I just want to follow in my mother's footsteps. So I was like, oh, how old do you have to be? I was asking my parents. They're like, Moni, you have to be 18. You can't do it yet. And I was waiting, and naturally I was like, I need to be 18, and I want to register for this course. Didn't know much of it. Then she came back home, and I literally witnessed in my eyes a change. That self-transformation from that course I actually saw. And I can't express to you in words. She just blossomed into this new person. The way she nurtured us, raised us, scolded us, supported us, me and my sister, that faith in Swami just became so much stronger, and now it's unwavering, to say the least. If you see her at home, which you guys, she always has Swami in her mind. Any free time at all, some divine discourses in her ears, or some bhajan is playing, or some sort of Swami literature. At any free time, if she's walking around, there's something Swami playing in the house. And so I was very fortunate to have parents with this much discipline in the house. And so naturally, that instilled in me and my sister growing up a characteristic that I see in both of my parents that is something that I am striving towards working. I'm still working on it. And it's something that I see that both of them possess is their humility. Until this age, I'll ask my mom, I'll be like, Amma, you did all this work, no one appreciated you, no one even saw how much work you put in. And her response is always, Manu, who cares? Swami saw, that's it. And I'm sitting there like, how do you not care? How do you not get upset? She's like, Swami sees, so who cares? And so being around parents who mentor that kind of characteristics is something I want to strive towards. So, next slide, please. So I was very fortunate to be able to visit Puttaparthi in July of 2022 for a Zone 1 Parthi Yatra. And it was United States, Canada, and West Indies. And it was the first time I went to Parthi after growing up. I went a couple times when I was little, and I had very few memories. I remember Swami walking, but not much. So this was post-COVID, and it was a huge blessing for me to go with my family. And it was a hard time for me. I was going through a lot of health challenges and personal things like that. So visiting Parthi was huge. It was a lot of prayers for me. A really hard time that I really had to ask Swami to help me get through it. And I really felt that he was testing me. I mean, just again and again, right when I felt I was at my bottom, he would test me again. And it was really hard. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Swami has this very keen and special way of speaking to everyone. If you see his divine discourses, right, there's thousands and thousands of people sitting in Kulvant Hall. And he has a way of speaking to someone in the right sentence, the right tone, the right word, for you to hear what you need to hear in that moment of your life. Whatever is going on, you'll be like, wow, this is so relatable. I feel like Swami is speaking to me, but thousands of people are feeling the same way. right? And I'm sure all of us have experienced this, every single person. Like, an example maybe some Balavi class might relate to. So you had a hard day at school, maybe you didn't get an A on an exam that you were hoping to do. You play radio sign, your favorite bhajan plays, right? Or you start the car and a Swami bhajan starts. That's happened, right? Or you're driving and you see a car plate that says Sairam. Right, all of us, we get a thought of a message or something right when we need to hear it. So Swami has constant reminders for all of us saying, I am here. I'm here to guide you and love you and protect you, right, at all times. And so that's really what I felt in 2020. So when I went, it was mid-July. So it was during very auspicious occasions of Ashadi Ekadesi and Guru Purnima. And so there was a lot of musical programs and plays and skits and guest speakers and things like that when I went. And this word kept bringing to me, like it was calling for me, and it was self-transformation. And I didn't really recollect learning that in Balavi class, or maybe I didn't remember learning much. So I didn't remember much, and I was really curious about it. And the week I spent in Parthi, I kept hearing self-transformation from someone talking, or I'd read a poster or guest speakers or something. That word will keep popping up. And so I'd ask my parents, I was like, what does that mean? And I'd go to the bookstores and be like, what's a self-transformation book? I'd ask the people in Parthi. I needed to know. And so during darshan, one day, since I was going through a lot at the time, I was writing a letter to Swami. And amidst other things, I wrote just 2 lines. All I wrote is, Swami, I'm not sure what self-transformation is, but help me start my self-transformation journey. That's literally all I wrote. No idea what it is, but help me, please. Gave the letter to Swami. And in hindsight, I'm looking back, he was actually testing me a lot then for self-transformation, which I didn't know. And January of 2024, I get an email saying, congratulations, you have been hand-chosen by Swami for the SSSGC Young Adult Leadership Program for Self-Transformation. So I really felt at this moment that Swami had answered my prayers. And something I want to reiterate and remind you all is that if you wish something and it's His will, it will 1000% happen. And even if something doesn't happen the way we hoped, we need to remember that He's doing what's best for us. We are just His instruments. He knows where all of us are going to become in life. And so I really felt He was answering my prayers. And it was 2 years later, but we never know. And I felt really grateful. I can't explain that feeling. I was so happy to receive that email. And I also felt happy that I can finally follow in my mother's footsteps. I can experience what she experienced in 2018. So the program was 6-7 month online course first, and then the last 3 days was a residential program in Puttaparthi. And that's where we finished the last couple modules, and then we have our graduation program in Saisivakumar. So I graduated Balavi class a little over than 4 years ago, and a constant topic that constantly came up was faith. And from story group on, even till graduation, faith would always come up. And even after graduation, guest speakers would talk about faith in Swami. And I always think, like, I have faith in Swami. I don't really need to work on that. And looking at it now, it's ego. But back then, I just never felt that it's something I needed to work on. And I owe it to my parents for bringing me up that way to have faith in Swami from a young age. But really, like, in class, they would say, like, okay, like, kids, even if you fail your exam or something doesn't go your way, don't be mad at Swami. You need to make sure you're still praying. And even at those times, since I was little, I never forgot Swami or forgot to pray or had any sort of anger. I still pray to him the same. Naturally, of course, if it's before an exam, I might pray a little bit harder. Swami, please let me get an A, please let me pass. But even in hard times or when things didn't go my way, I just took it as, okay, he has something better for me, or it's a lesson for me to learn. Like, nothing really much. So every time a guest speaker or some uncle would visit our house, or even my parents would be like, have faith in Swami, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I have faith in Swami, I'm good to go. But was I wrong? I came to this program and I met so many Sai sisters from all over the world, from every continent. And their faith in Swami was so beautiful and inspiring. I can't even express to you in words how it was. And it made me reevaluate. It was such an eye-opening experience. I mean, their faith in Swami was, if I moved to a room all by myself in another country, no food, no water, no parents, no friends, no money, and I'll be completely happy. And I'm like, how could you say that? And they're like, Swami is with me, so why should I worry? And that's their faith in Swami. And I'm here thinking, I have so much faith in Swami, but do I have that much faith? I mean, if I was in another country all by myself with nothing, like, I would cry. I don't even know how I'd react. And they're like, why should I worry? Swami is with me, taking care of me. There's nothing to worry about. And so really through this experience has made me trust Swami and completely surrender towards him. So next slide, please. Yeah, so how it worked is it was at the indoor stadium. If you're familiar with Puttaparthi, it's just right outside the ashram. And it was a class of, I think the batch was 200, 300, something like that. And it was all the sisters on one side, brothers on the other, and then we'd be put into little table groups like this. So this was my table group, where we had a lot of discussions and our class activities, basically. And actually, when I found out I'm speaking for Tryst with SAI, I was asking my family what experiences I should share. I didn't know. I was like, should I share maybe a childhood experience of mine, or something in my teen years, something more recent, or a specific experience at Bharti? And I didn't know, and they were giving me all these ideas, talk about this, talk about this. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, more than talking about my experience, what I wanted to share with you is stories I heard in Bharti that changed my life. It was so inspiring the way I prayed to Swami, and I hope that it does the same to you. So my mentor is over there with the yellow and green sari. So I actually reached out to my sisters and friends there, and I was like, hey, I had this opportunity to share about my YLST experience in Dallas, and I would love to share your story, but I know it's your story to share, and it's personal. Is it okay to share? And they were more than happy. They were like, please share. If it helped you, I wanted to help other people as well. So they were very gracious in letting me share their stories. So my mentor, actually, so she graduated from this leadership program the year before and is now coming back to teach us for our 2024 batch. And the flight for Bharti was closed, and her mother was going through some health issues, something with her spine. And so she was actually hesitant and gonna cancel, but her mother was like, no, you have to go, you need to teach these kids. I'll be fine, let's just fly and take me there. So it was fine. They handled with pain medications. They get there, and in the flight, she's very uneasy. She needs to go to the hospital. And so the mentor was kind of not really looking after her belongings as much. She was just focused on getting her mother to the hospital. So didn't care about her belongings, her luggage, no worries about that. Took her to the hospital. Luckily, everything is fine. She's got her meds and everything. Took her home. And after she got settled, she realizes she lost her phone and has no idea where it is. So it could be, she's from the UK, so she's like, it could be in the UK airport, could be here, could be on the flight, I have simply no idea. But she was like, okay, fine, whatever, it's late anyway, let me sleep on it, I'll deal with it tomorrow, I have a day till Bharti anyway. The lady goes, let me call the airport. So she calls the airport first, and the airport's saying, sorry, we don't have your phone. She calls the UK airport, they don't have her phone, calls the flight, says the information, please tell me if you have the phone. No one has the phone, basically. So then her only option was to buy a new phone, right? And she's sitting here going, my bank account that works in India has no money, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Then Swami comes in her dream, and Swami is saying, I'll take care of the money, go get your phone. So she goes the next day, she buys her phone. Again, she doesn't know, as far as what she knows, there's $0 in her credit card. So she swipes the credit card. The phone was 80,000 rupees, and exactly in the bank account was 80,000 rupees to the cent. And that's just purely Swami. And we're sitting here like, how do we not hesitate? And she was like, Swami said there's money, so he took care of the money. She's checking the bank account at home, $0. To the dot, it was the exact amount for the phone. And she's saying this so casually. We're just talking in a discussion. She's just casually like, yeah, here's my phone. So then one of my friends goes, sister, you have two phones on the table. What, you found your other phone? And she's like, that's another story. Again, so casually. So we're like, okay, tell us, please. And so same thing. Swami comes in her thought again. Now Swami is saying, the phone is at the airport, don't worry. So it's the next day, and she's like, I'm going to go to the airport. Her family is like, are you crazy? We just bought a new phone because your phone isn't there. What do you mean you're going to the airport? And her response is, no, it's at the airport. I'm going to go get it. I'll be back. imagine how crazy she sounds. We just bought a new phone, 80,000 rupees, all of our money. She's like, no, I'm gonna go get it, I'll be back. And she was telling us, she was like, I don't even care about my phone. She was like, photos, messages, whatever. The only thing I was missing from my phone is my lock screen. And I wish I can show you, I don't have it, but the lock screen was a picture of Swami, and it's Swami kind of staring, kind of protecting the phone, but for us, it's like in a loving way, right? For maybe someone who's not familiar with Swami, it seems like a scary, like, I'm not gonna touch that phone type thing, protection. And so she was going, I don't know where I found that picture. I found it many years ago. It's not on Google, it's not anywhere, and I was missing that picture of Swami. I don't care about the phone, I was just missing the picture of Swami. So she goes to the airport, right? And she's like, hi, I need my phone, this is how it looks like. And the lady's like, okay, did we call you or anything? Like, did we say anything? She's like, no, but the phone is here. The lady's like, okay, I can check lost and found for you. And she's like, and even if I find it in lost and found, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. It's closing time and it's the rules. And she's like, that's fine. Just show me the lock screen. I just need to see it one last time and you can keep the phone. So imagine how she sounds. Like, keep the phone, just show me the lock screen. So she's like, okay. So she goes back, she finds the phone, and the phone is there at the airport. And she goes, ma'am, are you a Sai Baba devotee? And she's like, yes. And she sees the lock screen and she recognizes Swami and she goes, okay, ma'am, keep the phone, have a good night. So it's all Swami's faith right there. And I was thinking, if I was in that position, right, and Swami is telling me in my dream, I would still be hesitant. I'd be like, I just bought a phone. Should I really go to the airport? Should I do that? And I realized that's all not trusting Swami. That's not completely surrendering to him. He's saying, like, if I tell you to jump off a cliff, will you jump off a cliff? Obviously, we'll say yes. But actually putting it into practice, I realized I'm hesitating and I shouldn't. So, I don't know if I'm good on time. Okay. So there's another story I also wanted to share. She's one of my friends. She's from South Africa, and she's a lawyer. And she's at her law firm. And it was a Thursday, and it was her grandmother's birthday, who passed away. And so her father was saying, go to work at 5 o'clock sharp, come to the graveyard, and bring a cake and flowers. They do this every year. So she was like, yeah, sure. So she was going to work that morning, and she always saves her front seat for Swami. So it's always empty, and she always talks to Swami on the way to work. No music, nothing like that. She's left to Swami, and she was saying she was having such an uneasy feeling that morning, I don't know why, and she's never felt that way before. And it was like Swami was giving her some sort of sign, but she was like, okay, whatever, and she brushed it off. She goes to work, and these two men come, one with the gun and one with the knife. And obviously everyone's screaming, trying to call the cops, running, and she hears gunshots, she sees the blood everywhere, and she didn't know what to do, so she grabbed her phone, and she was in her cubicle, and she has a Swami picture in her cubicle, so she goes, I don't know, I just hid under the desk, I couldn't think, and she was literally like crouched underneath like this, like just shaking, trying to call the cops, but not saying anything to the cops, like just shaking like this. And she literally sees people falling on the floor. She sees the blood. She hears the gunshots. She sees the knife. And she's just like, oh my God, Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram, just shaking, can't even say a word. So she's closing her eyes like this, and she feels a hand pull her with her phone and pulls her to the ground and shoves her. And it was one of the guys, comes, and there's a gun to her head and then a knife here. So she's on the floor, and she's thinking like, this is my time, this is it. And all she's saying is, okay, Sai Ram, Swami, just take care of my parents, that's it. And she just closes her eyes and she's like, okay. And she's closing her eyes and she's like, okay, nothing is happening, weird. And she gets this kind of bravery to open her eyes. And she's wearing a Swami necklace, and there's Swami in it. And these guys, they look at Swami, and they have this fear. They literally startle, they jump, and they run away. Both of them just run away with so much fear. And till this day, she goes, I don't know if Swami came in this physical form or what happened, but Swami protected her, and she was the only one to survive in that law firm that day. And so, yeah, I heard so many stories like this, and I'm like, their faith in Swami is so inspirational that I need to have that much faith in Swami and surrender to him that much. So I hope these stories inspires you as well. Next slide. So, yeah, this was the batch of 2024. This is in the indoor stadium, so this is the main area, and then the sides is where we had our classes. Yeah, that's it. Next slide. And then the last day was our graduation ceremony and musical offering in Sai Hall. That's it. Next slide. Okay. So, the 3 days I spent there and the whole 7-month course I took, I learned so much valuable information. I realized when Swami came in his physical body, he left us absolute gold. He left us information that's unvaluable, it's incomparable to anything else. And so I was looking through my online modules and my courses there, and I wanted to summarize points that I felt were relatable to everyone, SSE kids all the way to adults. Just good reminders for us, and I wanted to share some of my takeaways with you. So, the whole point of self-transformation is changing the self, our own mindset. So the biggest thing, it might seem self-explanatory, is change yourself, not others. This whole program, even though it says leadership program, this leadership program actually was not how to lead other people, it's how to lead ourselves, start from within. So it's how to change our mindset so we can adapt in any situation possible. Another thing, if any of the kids want to answer, if you guys know what Hridaya Nivasini means, or Antarayami. Okay, it's listening to your conscience or your inner voice. So it's Swami resides within us. It's always a good reminder that Swami is going nowhere. He's always within us. He's always guiding us and loving us 24/7. And we need to listen to that voice. When Swami is right there, we're not going to listen. We need to make sure we're listening to that constantly. Another thing. So heart-to-heart connection, right? It's our heart and Swami's heart connection. And so we're all humans, right? We always have natural human responses. So I'm sure we've all felt this at some point in our life. How many of you have ever felt they're so lucky they got to see Swami in person? Or they're so lucky they got to see Swami's physical body. They got an interview with Swami. I wish I had an interview with Swami. They had Swami's physical darshan and I didn't. They had Vibhuti in their house and I didn't get Vibhuti in my altar. But I pray 5 times more than she does. Why does she get Vibhuti in her altar and I don't? Does Swami even love me? Does Swami even care about me? Right? And it's not our fault. It's a very human response to have. We have a little jealous or we're a little envious of other people, yeah? And so during this program, I learned all about changing our mindset and the way we view things. Instead of viewing like, oh, they're so lucky, they got a chance to sing to Swami, or they got Vibhuti in their house and I didn't. Instead is all of us, every single person sitting in this room, we were born in the golden age of Sai. Is there a bigger blessing than that? It's all about our mindset. We need to view ourselves that we're so lucky not to just know Swami, but be born in his avatar age, in that time period. And once we change that mindset, automatically that jealousy and that envious and that bad traits just go. And so it was a huge reminder for me, something I learned in Balavi class, and I came back there and I realized, and I was like, wow, I'm thinking about this all wrong. I should never think they're more lucky than I am. They have their own heart-to-heart connection with Swami, and so do you. Another good reminder is serving mankind is equivalent to serving God himself. So when you have the opportunity to help anyone, never say no. Because if Swami is sitting right here and he's saying, hey, please help me with this, are you going to be like, 5 more minutes, I'm tired? We're not gonna, and I'm very guilty of this. You can ask my mom at home too. I'll be like, Amma, I'll do it later, right? And you have to serve anyone you have the opportunity to, because Swami is putting it in front of you to help that person. So always remember, it's as simple as love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. So when you see someone, help them. Another thing, this is also something I was struggling with actually, comes back to the heart-to-heart connection. There is divinity in every single one of us. Every single one of us has some divine light within us. So it's important for us to see good, do good, and be good. And this is something I struggle with. It's so bad and it's probably embarrassing to share, but the first thing I do is I see the negative qualities in someone. And it's such a bad trait, and I can't help it but see like, I need to like psychoanalyze them or something. Like I need to look at someone and just be like, oh, they have this wrong. And I'm like, who am I to judge them? So it's important for us to focus on that Sai light in everyone instead. When Swami was here in his physical body, he did so much work for all of us. And one of our modules was actually going through each phase of Swami's life and all the things he did for us. And I told you, he left us gold. Sai literature, there's nothing comparable to Sai literature or the Sai organization. And so Swami always said, my life is my message, right? But ever since his physical body, his mission is our life is his message. And so a mistake I was often making is, especially in College Station, with me starting a new center, I was very excited and to start something in College Station. I was just like, I'm a Sai devotee, I'm a Sai devotee, are you a Sai devotee, are you Sai? And I realized there, I shouldn't have to say I am a Sai devotee, it should shine from within. Someone should look at all of us and they should see the Sai light in us. We shouldn't have to say, hey, I'm a Sai Baba devotee, they should see it within us. And I realized I was making a huge mistake trying to show off that I'm a Sai devotee. Who am I trying to show off to? And so, all of that comes with our life is his message. So when we follow his words and deeds, we're doing what Swami wants us to do. Swami said he doesn't want any of us to become great people, especially if you guys are going to college or your next phase in life, like undergrad, grad school, jobs. It's so easy to get caught up with, I want a promotion, I want a high salary, I want this. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to remember that you have to be a good human first. It comes to our basic 5 human values. Another thing I learned is with self-transformation, when I asked Swami to help me with this in 2022, I realized after this program that our self-transformation journey lasts till our last breath. It's a never-ending thing. So it's something that all of us need to work on till our last breath. So it's something all of us can work on starting now. And we don't know it, but we're in our self-transformation journey till birth. But only now we're aware of it and we can constantly practice those values that Swami wants us to practice. One very popular online module was conflict management. And this is something I related to a lot at the time. I think it was in mid-February-ish, and we were all talking about it, that we decided to revisit this topic in Bharti as well. Because I just felt I was getting into a lot of fights with my family and my friends, and a lot of conflict naturally in everyday life. And I learned something in Bharti, and that the common denominator to all conflict, any type of conflict, is ego. And I'm not going to lie to you, though, when the first time I heard that, I was like, I'm a little skeptical. Like, what do you mean every problem is ego? And I really thought about it. Every problem that I was having or I faced, and I even Googled simple problems and ChatGPT'd problems, and really the underlying issue with all of that is ego. And so I realized, the next slide actually, that everything I learned, there's a golden key to self-transformation. So I know Mahima had 1 million guesses at home, but does anyone have a guess here? The golden key to self-transformation is removing ego. The minute we remove ego, we're Swami. So obviously all of us will have a little bit of ego in us, but it's something we need to strive to work towards every day. And that leads me to the next slide. Is surrender to Swami. We hear this all the time. So for me, I realized my mistake is going through Balavi class and growing up in parents who are Sai devotees, right? I constantly hear Swami's message, Swami's lessons. But I realized, am I really putting it to practice? Am I really understanding what Swami is saying? Or if I'm just hearing it going, yeah, surrender to Swami. And I was thinking about it. And so real surrender, this comes with the removing ego, is that I am nothing but just Swami's hands. I'll repeat that. I am nothing but just Swami's hands. So simple things like, I led this project, I sang this bhajan, I did this, I did that, all of that is ego. Our mindset needs to be, I did nothing, Swami did this through me. Even me speaking to you, this is not me speaking to you, it's Swami speaking through me. And so the key, if all of us work towards that every day, that Sai light will shine even brighter in all of us. So the main summary points, if you remember nothing I told you today, just remember removing ego and real surrender to Swami. Swami has done it. Remove ego and show that gratitude to Swami. Next slide. So during this 3-day residential course, we had a lot of guest speakers, and we actually had R.J. Ratnakar sir and Nimesh Pandya sir, Managing Trustee of Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, and also Vice Chairman of Sri Sathya Sai Global Council and Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization. They came and spoke to us the first day, and then a lot of other speakers in between then too. And they returned again on the last day, and this during our closing ceremonies. This is after we finished all of our modules. We're getting ready to have our graduation at Sai Kuvanthal at the very end. They come back with this panel, and they were saying, okay, now all of you have successfully completed this course by Swami's literature and Swami words. Now your homework, quote-unquote, homework assignment is, how are you going to bring Prashanti Nilayam to your respective homes? And so I thought about it, and I wanted to take this opportunity where I'm speaking to all of you today to all of us together as SAI leaders to bring Prashanti Nilayam to our very own Sri Sathya Sai Global Counselor Center of Dallas. So next slide. So yeah, like I was saying, serving mankind is serving God himself, right? So let Swami speak and act and do through you, right? So for example, if you're interested in technology, learn the mic and audio systems, right? Or if you're interested in altar and decorations and you like doing the flowers, try to form a proper altar team, or learn a bhajan, or teach a bhajan, or volunteer to speak and share a story. Help wind up at the end, or organize study circle if that interests you, or form rotations to carry altar items weekly. Or start a Flowers of a Week chart. You need beautiful flowers every week. You can start some charts, some organization system. Or let's say it's hard for you to come to center, but you're good with IT and things like that. Help with the website maintenance, right? Or start a Seva project. And I know a lot of people going, I'm really missing Angel Tree Seva. Then help start the Seva project. Or help with the SSSE program. Or help wash blankets. I used to do this when I was younger. I created a form and devotees were lining up to wash the blankets every 2 to 3 weeks. So whatever you want to do, just all of you imagine Swami is sitting right there. Are you really going to be sitting here on your phones, or you really want to listen to bhajans and help as much as you can? And it's definitely something I need to work on as well. I'm definitely on my phone way too much. But this is a good reminder for all of us, is to transform the center and grow as SAI leaders together. And the most important thing is when you're doing any action or you're speaking or any thought, we have to make sure we're doing that lovingly. That's the most important part. So together, as SAI leaders, we can transform our Sri Sathya Sai Global Counselor Center of Dallas and bring Prashanti Nilayam here. Jai Sai Ram.